Hello, this is Poker Face from the IE, aka Versace Chris, and this is Nothing is Safe, and this may very well be the most controversial video we've ever done. As I'm right now traveling abroad, I'm in Italy right now. I don't know if you can tell by that, but I'm in Italy right now, and a few days ago, something happened where Palestinians invaded Israel, did a bunch of heinous things, kidnappings, according to the media. Hopefully it's not propaganda. I believe propaganda is used all the time. I hope not in this situation. Raided peaceful festivals, sent rockets galore, killing people in the streets, 90% of which unarmed. And then what happens the very next day? Israel goes and does exactly the same thing. Blows up the good, the bad, and indifferent. Destroying entire neighborhoods where it's only blown out buildings looks like a game of Jenga where you can just push it and it'll fall over. It's just absolutely gutted, destroyed. Immense loss of life on each side. And I was like, whoa, where did this come from? Because it wasn't like, they're battling weekly and it's on the news and, you really haven't heard anything about that conflict in quite some time. It seemed like it was not in peace, but coexisting until that fateful Saturday night a week ago, less than a week ago. So I had to do some research because I was just so confused on why this happened and why now. So I did my research to find that I'm still, because you don't know why, what would spark someone to grandioso acts of violence like this. I liken it to if someone steps on your brand new shoes. There are some people that be like, damn, I just bought these shoes and now they're messed up and how am I gonna, replace them? And, that's gonna, that'll be their first thought. Then you have people that if you step on their shoes, their brand new shoes, there's gonna be a problem. There's gonna be physical violence that's involved with it. And you never know which person is the person, You may step on somebody's shoes accidentally, hopefully, and you get the docile, oh my God, I just bought these. I can't believe they're already messed up. You get that. Or you get the person that say, oh man, you stepped on my shoes, I'm gonna whoop your motherfucking neck. And so I don't know. And I don't know, the mentality of both sides. Are you the docile side that, just had too much? Or are you just overreacting? Like the guy who says, you stepped on my shoe accidentally, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And I had to go back into history. So at the end of this whole land that they're fighting over was all part of the Ottoman Empire. So that's where we'll start. It was all part of the Ottoman Empire, where there was some Jews there, but mostly an Arab conglomerate, Arab citizens, Palestinians. Then the Ottoman Empire fell at the end of World War I. And at this point, the usual suspects, the biggest land thieves of all time, France and England, go and seize the land and carve it up amongst themselves, with England basically getting what is present day Israel/Palestine. And what Britain did was made Jerusalem, because I just found out Jerusalem is a religious focal point for Christianity. Jerusalem, the whole, Jesus, for the Jews, and for the Muslims. So Jerusalem has a historic religious connection to all three. So what they did was, to make sure that all three groups didn't feel religiously tampered and interfered with, they made it its own entity that is not Israel, that is not Jerusalem. It is its own international place, kind of like the Vatican in Italy, right? Where it's its own country. So they had that, and then that worked for a while. And here's where I think the biggest problem happens from what I've read. Please, in the comments, if I'm wrong, if I got some information that is not correct, or if I'm just plain ignorant to the fact of some things, please, in the comments, let me know, because I read every comment. I don't always respond to every comment, but I do read them for sure. And so here's where the turning point is. Here's what, when I said, okay, I can see an issue, this becoming an issue. One is the Jews decided themselves that they were not just a religion, but now a race of people. And that struck me as odd, because I've heard this before, but I've never really gotten into it. I remember a DJ Vlad interview where he was discussing, because he's Jewish, and he was discussing that someone was saying, I don't know if it was a boozy interview or something, where someone was saying, oh, you're Jewish, that's your religion, right? And he said, no, it's also my race. And I remember when I heard that didn't make sense to me. Because I've seen people go from atheist to Catholic to Christian to Jew to Muslim. I've seen all kinds of, this one isn't working for me, let me try that one type of thing. I've seen, Christians, more than anything, I've seen Christians turn Muslim. especially like, you see guys go to prison or something like that, and they learn some things that they've never been taught, and they decide that they want to change from Christians to Muslims. I've seen Christians turn Jew. So if I've seen Christians turn Muslims, Christians turn Jew, I don't know if I've ever seen Muslims turn Jew. I don't think I've ever seen that. Not personally. I'm not saying it's never happened. But to see definitely Christians turn Jewish, I've seen that. So if a Christian who starts life not a Jew, then becomes a Jew, it changes their race. If a Jew becomes a Christian, if he then, for whatever reason, starts believing Jesus is who he says he was and not who they condemned and, ultimately crucified, then does that change his race? Because he changed. That doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense when Vlad TV said it. It didn't make sense when I read it today. It doesn't make sense. It makes as much sense as a person that is born a male claiming that they are now a woman. Now, that's not the biggest problem, is that you claiming you're a woman. I don't care what you claim you are. It doesn't bother me. I have no problem with it. I'm not scared of it. I don't know what these phobias, they're talking about phobias. If that's not your lifestyle or what you believe in or your take on life, it doesn't make you scared of it. It makes it a non-factor to me, really. It's a non-factor. I'm not scared of you because you're gay or you're trans or you believe that you're a woman when you were born a man. That doesn't make me scared of you or anyone else. But it's like the same thing. So here's the problem I have. The problem I have is not you believing you're a woman. You could believe you're a cat if you want to. My problem is you wanting to participate in woman things. That's the issue. You want to participate in women's sports. You want to go in a woman's restroom. You want to go in a woman's locker room. You want to, and then if I grew up with you and went to elementary school with you or high school with you, and have always known you as a male, and I see you and say, hey man, how's it going? It's been a while. And you get totally offended, and now you're upset, and now you want to report me or whatever the case may be. That's where I have a problem with it. Or if I get hired at a job and I see you, hey man, what's up? And now I'm going to HR because I called you a man. That's where I have a problem with it. Not with what you want to be or your family. I want everybody to live out their dreams. That's your dream, live it out. Don't include me. Right? So what I'm seeing from the Jewish aspect, they made up their mind, just like men that saying they are now women, and vice versa, right? Now that they've changed their mind, that they're now not only a religion, they're a race. So it doesn't matter if you're Asian Jew, a Asian person that practices the Jewish religion, if you're a black person that practices the Jewish religion, a Mexican person that practices Jewish religion, you're your own race now. I believe there's only one race anyway, that of the human specific race. But when you're talking on those terms, so that's where the problem started. So then they want to be that cool, everything's good, but this is where you can see the issue coming down the road. Now, in order to establish themselves as a race, no longer just a religion, but a race, I guess a ethnic race, but to make themselves a legitimate race, they need a country, a nation. And that's when the problem started, because they decided that Israel, present day Israel, where it is located now, was going to be that place. And there were already people there. Sound familiar, Native Americans? There were already people there. So they moved little bit by little, settling there. And there were small little conflicts here and there, but nothing like it is now or had been coming up to now. But a lot of, little spats here and there. And then when Hitler and the Nazis decided that they were going to commit the atrocity of the Holocaust, that spurred a lot of Jews to go to Israel. That's when there was a mass exodus, because I get it, you want to run somewhere, they're out to kill you, people are going to try to kill you, but it wasn't the Palestinians, it wasn't the Arabs, it was the Europeans, it was a German, so they leave en masse. And that's where you get a lot more of the settlement in Israel. And then they're settling down. They're basically taking land. You're like, okay, this looks like a great place, and it's far away from Hitler. So let's stay here. And then they're all coming, and then they're getting the message out. Hey, this is a cool place. You won't get the Germans aren't coming here. Let's try to make it happen. The Germans aren't coming. So everybody who can, who weren't arrested or detained by the Germans, were able to go to Israel, or present day Israel, and which was at that point Palestine. They went there and they, hey, I'm gonna make my little farm here, and hey, I'm gonna make my little farm there, and the people that are there are like, what the hell's going on? Because the children of Israel in the Bible were people of color, were people of Arab descent. You understand? They looked, if you see a picture of a Israeli Jewish person and a picture of a Palestinian person, they look very different. But if you take a picture of a Palestinian person and you take a picture of a Yemen person, a Jordan person, an Egyptian person, a Lebanese person, they look very similar. So there was an issue with the Israeli people, or the people claiming to be Israeli people, I'm looking at this objectively. I don't have a dog in this fight. So you have the children of Israel who looked like everyone else in the region. They go away, disappear, whatever the case may be, and then they come back looking European. They come back looking like the biggest land stealers of all time, the English, the French. You're going to think something's strange. These people are claiming to be Israeli, from the tribe of Israel, but they don't look like any of the other tribes. Could that play a part? Maybe. I've heard in the past that said, how did they leave people of color and come back Europeans? That's apparently a factor as well. But when they came back, they came back in force. And then they started fighting with not only the Palestinians, right? Them and the Palestinians now are, starting the animosity's building, everything's building, the tension. And at one point, Britain's like, look, man, you guys got to get your stuff together. So then the Israelis, they start fighting the Palestinians, and they start fighting the British occupation. They're fighting both sides. And you know what British was like? Britain was, well, there's not enough resources. This is not like Africa or like America, where there's just resources up the yin yang, and we're going to profit off of this. You know how they do. We're going to profit off this. We're going to keep this as a colony because it's profitable. It was just land in a what was viewed as a religious historic area. Not much money there. So they decide to move out. They leave. And when they leave, they were like the referee, saying, don't punch low, don't punch behind the head, don't punch in the kidneys, no kicking. That person leaves, you're going to get a no holds barred, all out war. So then you have the first uprising, and that's when the British people were like, oh no, we don't want any of this. Then they tried to do peace, and then I don't know how America gets involved. Apparently we, as Americans, we can have our own views, but as America, a country, we are pro-Israel, when I want to know why. Why are we so supportive? I know there's been different accords that have made, but how did we get involved? It's not our fight. It's not our religions. It's not our race of people, right? They wanted to be their own race of people. I mean, that's crazy. Usually a race is put on you. Like, oh, you're black, you're white, you're this, you're that, you're Asian. Usually that's put on you from somebody on the outside looking in. But to have them say, look, we're going to be our own race of people, and then go to someone else's land and say, that's mine, when there's people already there. It's not like you go to Antarctica and there's nobody there and you be like, this is mine, and I'm going to cultivate it and bear any austere conditions that I might find. No. There's people there, families, generations. That's like the Pilgrims. That's like England, France, Africa, how they've done, how they took over Africa, colonized, took resources. I don't see the difference. That's a man, a person born a man saying, I'm going into the woman's restroom. I'm going to compete in women's sports. And now it looks like, oh my God, these people have blown up Israel, killed Israeli people in the middle of the street, at festivals, rocket missile after rocket missile, indiscriminately killing. I can't say I get that kind of response. Just like I can't get the response of, I'm going to knock you out because you stepped on my shoe. But I can see how someone would respond that way. All we saw on Saturday was someone sitting at the table and slapping the person next to him. That's how this seems like you just slap the person next to him, and you don't know why. Why'd you slap your brother or your sister? But what you don't see is all the kicking under the table that prompted it. That person at the table slapped that other person. But you didn't see the kicking under the table that made it happen, that prompted the reaction. None of it's right. Killing is killing. But at some point in time, the Palestinians decided that this was worth killing for, and Israel decided this was worth killing for. But the thing I don't understand, while wrapping this up, the thing I don't understand is Israel, Jewish people. If you had this much fight in you, because according to the history, you fought British in that land, you fought fighting the Palestinians in that land, and every time you fought Egypt in that land, you fought all kinds of other surrounding Arab nations in that land and kicked ass. Where was all this ass kicking when Hitler was on you? That's what I don't understand. When Hitler was on you and you knew what he was doing to your people, where was all this warring? Where was all this fighting? Where was all this killing? There was dying and there was running. Then why do it now? Nothing is safe.